Hello, everybody. My name is Benjamin Bhaskar. I lived in Riga for 3 years, and I'm back in India. So this is my story regarding my stay in Latvia. Thank you. So my name is Benjamin Bhaskar, and I grew up. Basically, I'm a South Indian. I grew up in a South Indian family. My parents are South Indian, and but I grew up in the west of India. That is in another state where my parents were working. It's near to Mumbai. Yeah, but it's not exactly Mumbai, but it's north of Mumbai. Uh, and uh, and in 2015, after my graduation, 1 year after my graduation, I decided to come to Riga. I was in Riga for 3 years. In Europe for 3 years, Riga for around 1.5 to 2 years. And from there, I came back to visit my parents for 2 months, and then I applied for one position. I got here, so here I am. Actually, right now I'm a PhD research scholar in an institute in Northeast India. So this is a map of India. It's quite it's actually a peninsula. It lies somewhere in the middle of the Indian Ocean kind of place. So you look at it, it has all type of geographies. This is a desert portion, as you can see here, the western part. This is all pretty much desert. I grew up in a place in this city called as Vadodara, but I was born here. My parents are from like the tip of Tamil Nadu. The state is called as Tamil Nadu, which essentially means it's a land of the Tamils. It's a language. See, I'll show you one more map. Actually, it will be like it will show you different states. Actually, the boundaries. You can see here the lines. Actually, if you are able to, there are pretty much some lines around here. So, for administrative purpose, India is separated. You see these lines around here. So, for administrative purpose, India is divided into roughly 30 states. Because it's a huge country, it's 1.3 billion. So in order to manage everybody, they have divided the country into pretty much like cities or like states. So each state has its own flavor and own kind of as you know, in India there's a saying like every 100 kilometers the language, the people, the culture, everything kind of changes for every 100 kilometers. So I grew up in the southern state. Pretty much half of my life till grade 8th standard, I was in the west of India. And then till my graduation, another 8 years, I was here in a small temple town outside of this place, actually. It's a small temple town called as Madurai. And this was my initial beginnings in India. So the place where I grew up was pretty traditional. This is a very, very conservative part of India, pretty much extremely conservative place. And there used to be like, now, how do I say it's conservative? It's like people are pretty much outgoing, but they see other customs and everything, but they maintain their own tradition. So it's pretty open city, and the weather actually in this part of the world, there is no concept of winter at all. Actually, so if you just zoom in, you'll be able to see this place. So it's very near to the equator, so you'll never find any concept of winter. There is zero concept of winter.
Yeah. Very warm, very sunny.
Very, very warm and sunny. So even my mother, when she came in the beginning, she went in the 1980s. She moved to the North India. That's where my father was working. So she had during the colder months, because the northern India is a little bit cold during the second half of the year, that is December, Jan, Feb, and everything. And she couldn't handle the cold. So she always used to tell me that You know, so before coming to Riga, the one thing which I didn't calculate was the weather difference. That was pretty much a big, not a mistake, but I kind of misjudged it. And so whoever goes to Europe, I always give them one advice: just get winter clothes, even if you don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
So
How
that is
cold is cold in North India? What would you consider cold?
in like in the winter months, it drops um, like 10 degree, and 10 to 15 degree, and sometimes below that, 5-6 degrees
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, but it rarely happens. So that is like super cold for us. So even 10
Mm-hmm.
degrees is like super cold. Below that, like people come out to sunbathe and all. Actually, India is a really warm country. So in pretty much all parts of the all part of the India has got a very good amount of sunshine throughout the year actually. So this is southern India. It has got like there are only three words for it. Like really warm. I would say that. So and the weather here during the even the winters, it's around 25 or 30. Or it doesn't go below 20. There are
Mm-hmm.
exceptional places like so there are parts of this places which has got this British influence, because it was under this. It used to be before 1947.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be like a British colony, and there are few hill stations in India where you go and you'll feel that you've gone back to Europe. I mean, it will
Mm.
feel exactly the architecture and those kinds of things. So it's just one or two places, not the whole of the.
So it's mostly the way that it looks that still feels English, other than the fact that you speak English or can't
Yeah.
speak English. Um, are there other things that feel like remnants from the British Empire, from the British times, other than architecture?
Uh, See, the railways actually what we inherited from the colonial times. It is still like the railway. Actually, railway is very integral part of every Indian. Like nearly everybody has traveled on the Indian railways, which is pretty very much big. It's like it runs on a very socialistic mindset. They are still not that capitalistic, and they not like but it gets the job done. So we are still improving in that railways front. But yeah, it has got a soft corner in every Indian's heart, no matter what. So that is that is one factor. Currently, I'm in the eastern portion. This is the eastern portion, northeast portion, and this shares a rainforest kind of landscape, and that goes with Thailand and Burma, that kind of thing. So it's pretty much diverse. India is pretty much.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And did you travel much when you were younger, before you initially lived abroad? Did you travel much around India?
I just used to go between these two states, these two places. Like my home was here, and I used to, but my relatives were here, so I used to do this route. I have done many times, but other than that, I haven't traveled any part of this. Okay, some central places, but not many. But except and that's it. Yeah, Delhi, and yeah, this is a very short trip. But yeah, this was about it. Actually, India is a very big place to travel, so you really need to place in a lot of efforts to.
And how did you initially decide that you were going to study abroad? How did that decision come to be? Was that something you thought about or talked about with your family earlier in your life, or did you just kind of happen upon doing it?
Yeah, so first year I worked after my graduation. 1 year I thought like, okay, I'll spend with my parents, and then of course I did have some time with my parents, and then But after 1 year, I thought, okay, I need to explore a new country. And USA was totally, Indian. If you look at if you ask any Indian person that where are you going to study abroad, they'll think by default that you're going to United States. So or maybe in Canada, or maybe to the English speaking world, or maybe Australia or UK. So these four countries are comes in the top list. But what I planned is for Germany or Sweden, or in somewhere in the Baltics. So it was like like option 1, 2, and 3. So what happened is that I did try in the beginning, but then the application kind of it wasn't going through, and I was really working. I was working in a job. I was staying with my parents. I was working job, and I told my my superiors that I'm here just for 3 months, and after 3 months I'll be going. So then I saw the probability that where you are going to have the admission in a much faster way. So then I just had a few conversations. I saw a few online blogs. Then I came to know that Latvia is like really, they see your credentials, they do the interview. In Germany, the interview process is very bureaucratic. So, the decision making is a little bit long, So I didn't have that much time. So if I had to wait for another 6 months or 1 year. So I told, okay, fine, let's do it. Let's explore a new country and let's see what it is about. So I came then I applied for Riga Technical University, like 3 months, three and a half months before and then I had a Skype interview. Those days, Skype was the big thing, not the Zoom. In 2015, I applied and I got into the full thing, but still I was working, and just 2 or 3 days before I was supposed to take the flight, I just left the job. So it was pretty much, and in the final ramp up, I was doing all my shoppings, and what had happened is that in the final stages, I got the interview, and I went to Delhi to attend, the Latvian embassy. Now the Latvian embassy has told that you can take the interview anywhere, but those days it used to be like you have to go to New Delhi and give the interview, and they'll stamp your visa, and then you can book the flight. So at the very last moment, I got my passport and the stamped visa and those kind of thing. And finally, on the 1st or 2nd of September, I took off from India. So that was the first time I was moving out of my country. So it was pretty emotional, actually. So what had happened is that but when you are doing all these process, you don't really understand like what moving out really means. And you feel that it's normal that people move out, but when it really happens, when the officer at the exit, the airport, he just stamps you, the exit stamp, and he lets you inside the aircraft. So whole lot of thoughts come into your mind. Till that time, you're excited, and then you have these two minds. Are you really excited, or you're kind of
you're anticipating this new thing, but you also don't know what is going to come or what is
come by.
You can prepare to a certain extent, but you don't 100% know what you'll experience. So tell us about, so when you ended up landing and on the other end, what were some of the first things that kind of came into your mind, or that you saw, or that you experienced?
Yeah. So it was, so just I was entering into my my brother came to send me off. I have an elder brother. He works with Shell Oil and Gas, I suppose. Those who are in Texas, they know this. It's a fuel company. But he's in Chennai, in southern part of India. So he came to drop me to Delhi airport, and he just waved me goodbye. And my parents were really concerned. They packed a lot of things, like, they don't know that, see, if you go to an English speaking country, let's say, for example, you go to an English speaking country, for example, to US or to UK, there's a huge Indian community. So you know that you're going to get whatever food you like, XYZ. And there is so many online content as well, like what you can do and what not you can do. But here, there wasn't any content online in those days, like 5 years back. So I really searched. I did a lot of research. But one thing which I missed, again, I'm telling you, is that a weather kind of thing. So once I took off from there, I landed in Abu Dhabi. That was the first stopover. And then the flight was delayed. The next flight, it took me to Amsterdam. So when I was landing into Amsterdam, it was really, really cloudy. It's really, really cloudy. It was September first week. And I could see everything. It was really, really green. It was extremely well planned. Like, I could see the agriculture. It's very, very industrialized agriculture. What I saw that, it's not like small time farms and all that. It's like corporate farms. And on the bottom, I could also see that they had this greenhouse gases. The greenhouse shed. It's like, and they had this bulbs on top of it. And I was like thinking, what is here? And somebody, I asked one person, like, what was it? And he told me that they don't have sun. So they do agriculture under the artificial light. So that kind of, so what we take things as granted in India, like sunlight and all these things, that is like pretty rare in the Holland. And the next flight was from there to Riga. And what had happened is that they had given me some apple pie. Some Latvian apple pie. It was really nice. It was a sweet thing. And yogurt, which was like a strawberry kind of yogurt. That was also really good. So, and once I landed in Riga, even here also, I came to feel the cold. It was really late night, 9:15 or 9:30. And I just went inside the cab. Those times it was a green cab, so I don't know if they're still there or not. I forgot the name of that cab. Maybe Panda Taxi. I don't know. So, and I came to Keepsala and I saw places. And even in Keepsala, when I thought that there'd be no Indians here, but there's a huge community of Indians building up in Latvia. So it was quite some of them, some of them students. So I'll tell you the economic history of India. What had happened is that, see, after our independence in 1947, and we decided to close our external trade. The government of India told, no external trade, nothing. You just do whatever it's in India, and we'll do. But then, so we had this. We became like the close, because trade had led to something else in India. Like it became, first it came as a trade, and it became as a like a colonial scheme. So that had it just traumatized the minds of the Indian leaders in the early days of India. So they told the government of India decided, no, we are not going to do any of trade with any of these countries. So So from 1947 till 1991, there was a period of stagnation. All the industries in India was like very much protected against. And after 1991, the government told, okay, let's unleash the Indian force to the world. So, so trade was unleashed, and people could do whatever they want. So you are seeing a huge wave of people moving out and traveling. This is the first time in the history of India, after a long period, that people are doing that because of the policies which was taken in the 1991, like 30 years back, and you're seeing the products of it, like Indian students going abroad, and they are having like in my father's generation and all, it wasn't, I don't think so that would be, but today it's very much common. Like every other person, he has been, I'm not every other person, but if you ask some people, like they have had some kind of foreign experience, so it's actually a good thing. Yeah, like and in Riga also, you see 25 to 30% of the foreign internationals, they come from, I think it's from the subcontinent, you can say like that. The Indian subcontinent, you can call it like Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, and Sri Lanka. These are the 4 countries, and Nepal, right? So 25 to 30% of the people come from there, and the rest of them from the ex-Soviet republics. So these are the statistics for Riga, but yeah, so the government does, I think the Latvian embassy is really promoting Latvia as a study destination. And so that is the reason you're able to see.
One experience for me is when I started living abroad, I noticed 2 things. I certainly noticed things about the place that I lived, but I also noticed what things about me I felt really belonged back to the place that I grew up. So I noticed things about myself that maybe I didn't think about before and only thought about when they were different. So can you share 1 or 2 things that you noticed that felt about yourself that felt particularly Indian when you were outside of India? And then also just some things you noticed about Latvia or things you liked about Latvian culture that were different.
So in the Western society, and Latvia is also pretty much Western. Latvia is actually a mix. Actually, it's somewhere standing in the middle. They have the Soviet kind of thing still going on. So there's a community kind of thing still going on. The thought process a little bit, not too much. But Sweden, I spent my second year Erasmus exchange program where I got the scholarship. So I spent the next year in Sweden. So it was like it's extremely individualistic. So the level of individualism is like the top. So I think USA also comes in that kind of category. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's, but in India, it's extremely family thing. Like, for example, the decisions what you take, the things what you take, it's a collective thing. But if you understand from the point of view, and in Riga is going through a change actually. Now people have this individual opinions, they have this individual thing, but here in the Asian societies, what the head says, that is what goes down. It's pretty hierarchy. It's like something like this pyramid structure. So some things which I found, which I really find myself, was that I really kind of discovered myself when I was in Riga. You go around places, and then you find you kind of challenge yourself, and then you keep moving up, and then keep raising the bar. So a bit about myself, and then The second thing which I really is that if you stay in a single country, you don't really understand the importance of it unless and until you go to a different settings and different location, and that's where the things changed, and then you really start to respect your home country a lot more. Yeah. So in India, it's pretty common that you stay with your parents. But right now, I'm living separately because I'm in other side of the country. But in India, it's pretty common. Like in Italy, like you stay with your parents for a long period of time. Like, I mean, they. But in Latvia, some families are staying with their parents and some are moving off. So the Western influences are creeping into the society. So that's what I really find about Latvia. And the primary difference between Latvia is that the weather and and that defines every aspect of life. So same thing for Asian societies as well. So maybe it's a small observation, but that's what I feel, that it decides how they think, how they approach their problems in life, and those kind of things. And I want to make since I'm in the education field, so I wanted to make some remarks about education. Like in India, it's so in India, it's a very, very tough education system. So if you're coming out of the Indian education school system, so I think you can literally survive in pretty much the Western countries, because the competition is huge. So you want to get into certain colleges and all, you have to write a lot of exams, keep on going. The seats are pretty limited. So you'll find so many Indian students doing medical studies in European and mostly Eastern Europe and Russia, those kind of thing, because it's hard to get medical seats in India. It's a big deal, actually, if you get a like a medical seat, in a country. So that is one thing, and the next one is that the campus in India, the culture is like, if you have an education institute, it will be like a campus. The mess canteen will be nearby, and the workplace is also pretty much nearby, and the staff quarters also will be nearby. So it is like a whole campus. So whatever you want to buy, you'll have a bunch of shops, maybe 5-6 shops. You can buy maybe stationery or whatever it is. But in Europe, it's divided. It's like spread across the city. Like each faculty, for example, I used to go in this city. My faculty was outside, literally, like very, very. Used to take Meja Parks. Do you know that place? Meja Parks. It was near to that place. So we used to take the bus and go there. And I really remember on the final day when I was presenting my final thesis, it was really, really cold, and the bus driver he didn't go straight. He was going like zigzag kind of that, so that the bus doesn't sort of start slipping. I don't know why. I was so crazy. You'll never see this in India. Never. And regarding education, I wanted to cover is that Indian education is a little bit theoretical, I would say. And Latvian education is a little bit practical and a little bit theory. And they really push you to experiment new ideas. And Indian, yes. And same as with Sweden. Yeah. So the same concept applies to Sweden, and I really find that I was in Chalmers. There was a university called as Chalmers. I went there for Erasmus exchange, and when I went there, I could see that the change between I think Sweden is truly like they do have an American lifestyle, actually. They have this big Ford trucks. I could see them everywhere. And I had never seen a Ford truck. In Riga, I could see some, but not as big
Not very
as
many, yeah.
yeah. And the educational system is what I feel that I could contribute back in my country. So yeah, this is what I take away. That's the biggest takeaway
Yeah,
from
so
me.
talk about that a little bit, because now you're back in India. Was that planned? So did you plan to go and bring it back, or did it just kind of happen that you found a position that you wanted to take and ended up back?
Yeah. So after my 3 year stay over there, I hadn't visited my parents. So, it got really like they told me that please come and then you can try in India. If it doesn't work, then you can absolutely go back. We don't have any questions about it. They were very open-minded about that. So when I came back to India, and then my parents were influencing me that, try somewhere. So I started putting on applications to 2 different places. And the second place, I got, thanks to the heavens. So that was, and that was a reverse culture shock back again, you're coming back to the society because here the work hours are, the work, everything is pretty much the same. But, one thing about European society I like is that they have I don't know, is it because of European society or they have like clear like differences, like, they work from morning 8 to 4 or 5 and then they go, that's it. Mm-hmm. But in India it doesn't work like that. In India, maybe they'll start a little bit late, but they're staying also late. They'll be staying till 6 or 7. And the work-life balance, the line between that is blurred. So, I think we can take a lot from Europeans about how to balance that. Sometimes Riga has really, really beautiful places, I must say that. For example, I went to a place called as Yelgava. Oh my God, that is like totally out of the world. That felt like, Yelgava. Yes, Yelgava. There's a sugar factory. Yes. Mm-hmm. So I'd been there with the, I was there. And what happened over there is, it's like a mini Disneyland. I mean, it's so mini. Everything is so tiny. The cars, the bridge, the river, and it felt like that you make some Lego blocks kind of thing for a model. Oh, this is how the city looks like. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I really felt it's so beautiful that. And Sigulda was absolutely beautiful. Sigulda, I went to Yelgava and I couldn't go. Yeah, and Yurmala. Yurmala is like natural thing. So there were a bunch of Americans and we just we went together to see how Europeans are. And when I went there, the thing is that I saw like people. In Riga, what happens is that we were staying in Keepsala and there was a garden nearby. So if it's sunny or something, people come out and sit in the gardens. Mm-hmm. They do that. You never do that in India. That was something which was so crazy. I was like, when I came here in September, sometimes it was sunny in the first or second week. Then it started pouring and then the winter started. So I could see like people are out in the sun. So I used to wonder like, why are they in the sun? But then I asked some Latvian, he told that, we really give a lot of value to the sunlight, little sunlight we get, and we want to make good use of that. So the same kind of thing I found it in a place called Yurmala. So this was a new thing. And the Baltics and the Indian, that connection is vastly unexplored. So, people are going. So. Yeah, your question.
What advice would you give Indian students? What would be a couple of kind of top tips just from your experience that you would advise to someone who is maybe watching this and thinking, oh, I might do this as well?
My first tip is that, first of all, when they are planning for abroad, they must, of course, they will do the research for the countries where they're going, but make sure that the program, what you're selecting, and it has got like the Erasmus connections to the other universities. So that's what I wanted to. There are some few universities which are not under this Erasmus network. So if you go there, then it'll be like sometimes hard to get into a new or get a new experience, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
So this Erasmus network, that is the first thing. And the second thing is, yeah, I have mentioned it before, that the get ready for the winter clothing, that stuff. And the third thing is that be ready for new changes. Yeah, some people have they kind of being an expat life is it is a tough thing. In the beginning, it may look like a little bit easy, so to say, but it's a lot of effort to get to know people, and so people usually kind of shut themselves up, and they are like the same enthusiasm what they had shown coming in, and that kind of withers over time. But so they need to find some mechanisms to keep that thing going. So I used to do a lot of a little bit of exercises I used to do. So you need to have a lot of coping mechanisms, how you kind of keep your enthusiasm going up, especially when you're living abroad. And but Latvia society, the good thing is that they understand English, so it's not like really means you can, but the good thing is that you can learn Latvian over a period of time. Yeah. And I would say that even Latvian and Russian, I would say, like, go for both languages. Why not?
Yeah. Coming from India, where there are so many languages, it's just add a couple more. Yeah.
Yes, and one more point for the Indian students is that sometimes they can get a little homesick because they have been brought up in a kind of eggshell, so to say. But in Europe, people are pretty much independent at a very young age, like right from maybe after 18 or 20. In Sweden, it is much lesser. I think at 18 or 20, they're just by themselves. But in Latvia, is okay. Maybe 20 or 22, and they kind of explore and then they come back. But in Sweden also they do that. But yeah, so for Indian students, it's so they need to find this friend groups and everything. Fortunately, I had the friend group. We used to stay in Keepsala for a long time, and I absolutely had a good time. It's a beautiful island. I think you should. You might have seen.
Yeah. And did you find people mostly through your studies, or were there other ways that you found people to connect with?
Predominantly studies. I used to, once you get to know them, and then you are able to connect and have a bond, and there were a few Latvian friends as well.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Other thoughts is that, people ask me sometimes that how are you going to get into the Latvian job market? And I wanted to share that as well. Like, if you intend to stay in Latvia, then you need to find a job market. So pretty much all the Indians, like half of the Indians, are in the IT sector. So they know a programming language or so. So that is a very easier way to get into the Latvian job market. And some people say that, oh, we are from a different background. But I sometimes I do recommend them that you can learn on the side. You don't have to have particular experience. So many people from India, they came to Riga, and sometimes they changed their major. They entered into new things, and some of them have joined PhDs, and some of them have, so yeah, the Latvian job market, I would say, especially in IT sector, it's booming. As far as I'm concerned, but that was 3 years back. I don't know the situation right now. So, but I think there are a few good companies in Riga as well, very good innovative companies. And I see that there is a lot of innovation happening in the drone, like, the unmanned aerial vehicles kind of thing. I think Latvia is very good in that. So people who are in the aviation sector, they can think about that. Latvia is, the internet connection is pretty good, I would say. It's like really, really fast. In India, it's also getting much, much faster right now. There's a new project which has come in 2016 somewhere, and right now it's very, very fast. And and these are my final thoughts for people who want to study. It's a beautiful place. There's a this I think because of Corona, this might have been a little bit the international education. People are reconsidering it because of this Corona, but this will pick up in 1 or 2 years' time. So the good thing about me visiting Latvia was that I could get some very new ideas, which I think has helped me kind of refine myself in ways which I feel that people can. I see it that way, but people can have different ideas, and it's a different way of life actually. So it was like 3 years of, and then after that time, I got an internship in Portugal. I spent like 2 months in Portugal, then I came back to India. So that was my European journey in short. So
that's wonderful. Well, I know you only shared part of your story, but thank you so much for telling us a little bit more about you today. And thank you.
All right. So thank you very much. So thank you, Mara, for having me. And I'm really happy that you're doing this project. And this project will help somebody somewhere down the line. Hope you find success in many different. I think this is a platform for people who have who are expats, and it kind of brings people together who have. So I think it's a very, very different concept, and I hope you find success in this.
Thank you.